All right. Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the Final Word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network on this, on this Wednesday night, November the 20th, 2024. And it's very nice to be back with you. We're midweek, and all systems go. Unless you're a Flyers fan, of course. Then it's not quite that way. As we will we'll continue the conversation that Sal G started with the Fightins, or I said the Fightins final. If he's talking about the Fightins final, then we're really in trouble. But we'll continue the conversation with the Clear the Ice that Sal had with the Clear the Ice as the Flyers tonight pathetically lost 4-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes. Once again, a game devoid of any sort of serious offensive pressure from this team. And the one goal the Flyers did score was the epitome of a 24-25 Philadelphia Flyer goal. Way out wide with absolutely nobody in front of the net to even try to get a rebound. So that was the only goal they scored in another lifeless offensive performance against a very good team in the Carolina Hurricanes. And I don't want to hear about them hanging with the Hurricanes. I don't want to hear them skating with the Hurricanes. I don't want to hear any of that. When you don't have any offense, you're not going to win many hockey games no matter how bad or good your goalie is. So we'll continue that conversation. We're also going to get into some more baseball talk as the Cy Young Awards were announced tonight. Does Zach Wheeler bring home the prize for the Phillies? I'm going to give you a hint, a spoiler alert. He did not. He did not. As the Phillies continue to struggle with the MLB offseason awards. So far, just Zach Wheeler with the first team All-MLB honors, Bryce Harper with the second team All-MLB honors, and Bryce Harper with a Silver Slugger is all that the Phillies have garnered as far as recognition thus far in the offseason or the 2024 MLB awards season. And again, I said this a couple days ago, too bad they didn't hand this stuff out at the All-Star break. Then it might have been a different story. But the Phillies season is quickly being recognized by Major League Baseball, at least, as not being that good. 95 wins be damned. And we'll continue talking about the awards as Cy Young was handed out tonight. Tomorrow, the MVPs will be dished out. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that no Phillies will win that. And then on Friday, it'll all finish up with the Hustle and Heart Award. And that'll do it for the MLB award season. We'll talk a little Eagles-Rams, but tomorrow, of course, on this network, it's the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. So we'll get more into the Eagles-Rams tomorrow. But we'll kind of paint the picture a little bit for the Eagles-Rams. We got your Flyers prospect of the night. And we got your MattyB card review, as well as 84 days until pitchers and catchers report to spring training for those of you keeping track at home. Maybe we'll talk some hot stove too, because another Philly is rumored to be potentially traded, and I agree with this. I also agree with this rumor, and I think they should add in another player to the trade talks this offseason. So we'll get into all that tonight, but let's first get going with our day in Philadelphia sports history. Let's go back to the ripe year of 1960. It is an Eagles point. On this day in 1960, perhaps the greatest hit. Yeah, we can talk about the Sheldon Brown and Reggie Bush hit. We can talk about some of the really ferocious, vicious hits of the modern era of players. But on this day, I would have to say this was the most iconic hit in Philly or Eagles history. Chuck Bednarik laying out Frank Gifford in a game against the New York Giants on this day back in 1960. It was a game in which the Eagles won, but it's not. No one remembers the score, nor no one remembers that the Eagles won that game. All they remember is this.
By one tackle he made in 1960. Frank Gifford of the New York Giants was on the receiving end of a hit that reverberates still in the hearts of Philadelphia fans.
Oh, yeah, baby. Gifford, of course, laid motionless on the dirt. What was that, the Polo Grounds or Yankee Stadium, wherever the hell that thing was at? Where was that game at? That doesn't say. But we'll call it Yankee Stadium. Laid there motionless. I believe they had to kind of cart him off, but that was absolutely the most ferocious. What was it, like a clothesline hit? I mean, extremely illegal in 2024. But boy, that was football right there. And on this day in 1960, that hit was delivered by old Concrete Charlie himself to Frank Gifford, completely knocking him into another dimension for the New York Giants on this day. And there you have your day in Philadelphia sports history, brought to you by the good folks here at, where are we at? It's a Rap Sports Network. There you go. It's a Rap Sports Network. So please like and subscribe on all platforms. We need your help. Oh, Pat, what's up, man? Can't be mad at the Flyers. Can't be mad at the Flyers, Matt. It's a rebuild season, so it's okay. No, I didn't say. Listen, Pat, I never said I was mad. I'm not mad. It is a rebuild season. What I am thankful about, actually, about this situation is now, I mentioned this on the show a couple nights ago, maybe we can stop falling in love with some of the players' names on the back of the jerseys and fall back in love with the name on the front of the jersey, right? We talked about maybe this year was definitely going to be the year where some hard decisions are going to have to be made about the futures of some of these players that we think, or we thought based off last season, were going to be the future of this team. And obviously, with some of those players, it's not coming true. Joel Farabee can go away now. Don't need to see any more of Joel Farabee and his $5 million contract. Morgan Frost, who I believe was scratched again for the third straight night, can also join him away somewhere else. And then you can add Tyson Forrester into that group too, because I'm done. We have a whole roster full of, bottom six forwards. I don't need as many as we have, and it's time to start getting away with them. They're moving on from them. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. This is what a rebuild is. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating, and you can be frustrated as well. But no, I'm not mad. Not a bit. Jim Montgomery is out of here, Matty Ice. Jim Montgomery is out there. Pat, this is what annoys me about some Flyers fans. What is he going to do with this team, Pat? Pat, what's he going to do? He got fired in Boston because they were underperforming. If that roster, the perennial Stanley Cup champion or Stanley Cup contending Boston Bruins roster is underperforming for him, what the hell you think is going to happen down here with this team? The Flyers have the perfect coach. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but they have the perfect coach for this job. And I applaud the job John Tortorella is doing with this group. He's taking nothing and he's making something out of it. There was no reason that the Flyers should have been as competitive as they were last year. There was a few things going on last year that are not happening this year. The decision-making with the puck is terrible this season. Absolutely terrible. I've never actually seen the team be so indecisive with the puck. And that is indicative or evident by the amount of giveaways this team goes through on a nightly basis. We talk about giveaways. I talk about giveaways like I talk about RISP when it comes to the baseball thing. But the Flyers tonight, 25 more giveaways. A new season high, by the way, of 25 giveaways. Now they have given the puck away 300 times or 301 times through 20 games. That's up to 15 times a game the Flyers are giving the puck away. And I'm not talking turnovers, everybody. A giveaway is not a turnover. A giveaway is an unforced error that you commit that gives the puck to the other team. So the Flyers are averaging 15 of those a game. That is poor decision with the puck. That is not having your head up or picking your head up when your head should be down or putting your head down when your head should be up. Waiting that extra millisecond to spring a transition pass or waiting that extra millisecond to pass the puck over or take a shot. I don't care what you do with it, but just waiting too long on an odd man rush. 15 a game. That's bad decision-making by a team that you could say is pressing. You could say a team that's inside their own heads. You could say a team that just is not that talented, or all the above, you could say. Last year, the Flyers averaged 6.5 giveaways a game, and now they're averaging 15. That's not just coincidence. That's not a coinky-dink, right? That's something. And that, to me, shows a team that lacks decision-making ability. And that, in this level of hockey, at this elite level of hockey, If you don't make a decision with the puck before you even touch the puck, 9 times out of 10, it ain't going to work out. So, Pat, that's on coaching, right? That's on coaching. Or is that on player talent? I mean, or all the above. Listen, the Jim Montgomery talk, it's got to stop, man. What is he going to do with this roster that he couldn't do with the Boston Bruins? Come on, man. Who would want to come here for that? The Flyers have the perfect guy for the job. It's not necessarily anymore, in my opinion, on John Tortorella. It's on MattyB. Come on, man. It's time. Get us some help here. Do something with some of these players that you know by this point are not going to be part of the future of this team. Now, I'm not telling you that you're going to be able to trade Morgan Frost, Joel Farabee, and Tyson Forster for Connor McDavid. I get that. But start being a little bit more, have the decision-making ability to start making some changes with this roster. If the Flyers and their coaching staff and their management team are still hemming and hawing about certain players at essentially year 3 of a rebuild, then something's wrong. They know already who is in and who is out. It's time to start moving people along. And if that means accumulating massive amounts of draft capital, because here's another issue. The Flyers aren't a terrible team. They're right in the middle of the pack. So that tells you a 15 to 20 position in the draft. You're not rebuilding an elite team picking 15th through 20th in a draft. I don't care if you have 1,000 first-round picks. Well, which I guess that would be different because you'd have other teams' picks. But my point is, they're not going to tank. We're not getting the first overall pick. So, and we can't sign players through free agency because of some of these god-awful contracts. So it's time to get creative, man. It's time to start packaging people. Somebody on a show a few days ago talked about, we got to, we can eat some contract. I don't know how much more the Flyers can eat a contract. We're already eating a lot of contracts as it is. And I don't necessarily blame MattyB for the contracts of Joel Farabee, Scott Lawton, and Ristolainen. Who else? Did I mention Joel Farabee? Yeah. Travis Sanheim. I don't blame MattyB for those contracts. They weren't his contracts. They were Chuck Fletcher's. Now, I blame him from Travis Konecny's contract. Travis Konechny should have been traded. I mean, that's the bottom friggin' line. He should have been traded because we could have flipped Travis Konechny for some more help, right? We have one player who is not, and I don't even call Konechny a superstar. I mean, he's a very good player, but he's not something you're going to build a team around. He's not a part of that mold of building a team around player. Mitchkov is. Travis Konechny isn't. And by the time the Flyers get to be any good again, Travis Konechny is going to be too damn old to help out. So signing him long-term to me was ridiculous. But I still think even with that contract, you could probably find a buyer for Travis Konechny. It's coming down to that point for me. We already know what this team is. Now let's try to get to where we don't know what it is. Let's try to get better. We already know MattyB and Tortorella. They already know who the stalwarts of this team are, who the people are that are going to go into the future with them. It's time to start making that stuff happen. And I'm tired of seeing Joel Farabee occupying space or wearing orange and black. I'm tired of seeing Morgan Frost wearing orange and black. Thankfully, I haven't over the last couple games because he's been a healthy scratch. I'm tired of Ristolainen, and I'm tired of Travis Sanheim. Somebody else said Travis Sanheim is an elite defenseman. What the hell are you watching? I have highlighted and segregated about 9 plays on the postgame where Travis Sanheim was completely out of position, where Travis Sanheim was trying to act like a forward, and he's not. Stick handling against, what was the Connor McDavid one in overtime against the Oilers as he's coming down the wing, trying to outrun Connor McDavid. I mean, come on, man. Travis Sanheim, an elite defenseman. He's not an elite defenseman. He's a below-average defenseman, but he's got offensive ability, which is about average. So average to below average, what does that equal out to be? About average? Elite defenseman, my ass, man. Travis Sanheim. The only time I know he's on the ice is when I see the big number 6 staring at me in the face, because that's all you can see because he's behind the play and he's always turned around and he's not where he's supposed to be. Come on, man. Travis Sanheim elite. All right. Scott Lawton. How much more do we got to see Scott Lawton to know that this guy's a 10-goal season guy? I don't care about his character. His character ain't bringing me a Stanley Cup. Right? It's time to start making these hard decisions about some of the players on this hockey team and stop falling in love. And this goes for all the sports teams in this godforsaken town. Stop falling in love with the names on the back and start falling back in love with the names on the front, because those are what really matters. And in the Flyers case, it's time to start cutting ties with some of these guys that are just not going to be part of what the future is. Now, is that day coming? Is that already being in the works? Probably. Contracts are an issue. Are we going to see massive movement by this team on the trade deadline? Hopefully. But a poor offensive performance tonight by the Flyers. Just terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Barbara, how are you tonight? 1 step forward, 3 steps backwards again. I love Torts. It's not his fault. Bad roster. Barbara, that's why I love you. You come into these conversations and you add a level of civility, and you add a level of intelligence, and you add a level of competence. Jim Montgomery, what is he doing with this team? If he couldn't motivate the Boston Bruins, is he going to motivate Tyson Forrester? If you couldn't get the Boston Bruins with Pasternak, Marchand, McElroy, those guys, if you can't motivate them to win, what is he doing with Tyson Forrester, Ristolainen, and Morgan Frost? What is he going to do with them? I mean, come on, man. What are we doing here? Negan Smith making no decisions is a big decision. That's right. Steve, it's so true, though. When you look at this team, how many times, Steve, and that goes for everybody that might be tuning in, how many times have you been watching a Flyers game? And not the obligatory shoot that those idiots yell at every time he touches the Flyers touch the puck. I'm not saying that. But when you're watching a odd man rush develop, and you watch the play going down the ice, and you see the puck handler, he keeps looking over but he's not doing anything. He's lost in the moment, and he doesn't know what to do. And by that point, at this level of hockey, the moment's passed. And many times have we seen the outlet pass that worked so well for this team last year not happen because the player waited too long to make the pass. They're averaging 15 giveaways a game, Steve, not 15 turnovers. Turnovers are a separate category. They're averaging 15 giveaways a game. To me, it's indecision. It's not being sure what to do with the puck. It's not having 3 steps ahead of what you're doing already before you do it, which at the NHL level, you have to be able to do. That is all player. It's all player. Tortorella could stand there with a whip and a chair and start yanking players off the ice the minute he sees indecision. And before you know it, by the end of the game, you have Ivan Fedotov skating up and down the ice because he'd be the only player left on the ice. And he's terrible stick handling too. So I get what the frustration levels are. No one's coming in here and turning this thing around. This is what they are. This is who they are. And they're not a bad team. They're just not a good team. Some stats to talk about through the season so far. Tonight, giving up 4 goals. The Flyers have now surrendered 70 goals on the season. 70 goals, and we're 20 games in. It's 3.5 a game. They, in turn, have only scored 53, 2.6 goals a game. You're not winning at the NHL level when you're not even able to score 3 goals a game. They've allowed 598 shots on net, 30 a game. They're averaging 531 shots for themselves, 27 a game. So they're being outshot daily. And I would take 30 to 27 if that's the legit number every night. I mean, what, they get 19 shots tonight? It's frustrating because of the fact that everybody wants to put blame towards the coach. And everybody wants to put blame at the feet of the coach. I just don't see it. He's coaching. He's coaching young players. He's getting every goddamn ounce of what they got out of them. They just don't have it to begin with. So Tortorella should be lauded for what he's done, to be honest with you. Now, granted, the shelf life does come into play with Tortorella. It does. And it will eventually. And it may be this season. I don't know. But to sit here and say Jim Montgomery is going to come in here and do the that's an uninformed opinion, because he's not going to do nothing with this team. Absolutely nothing. I thought Forrester's Farabees were supposed to give us exciting hockey. Your thoughts? Yeah, well, Forrester, I was never on board with Forrester. I ran some numbers last year. They keep bouncing him around the lineup. He's on the first line one night, the fourth line one night, third line, all that. He's not a goal scorer. I was never on him. Jim Jackson told me over the offseason, wow, they love Forrester because of all the greasy work he does in the corners. What the hell do I care about that? Tyson Forrester is not a fourth line guy. I want him to be a goal scorer. He's not built like a goon. He's a goal scorer, and he just doesn't have that ability to do. Farabee hasn't been good for 2 years now, and he Jalen Hurts this team. He had that one good year and got that $5 million bump from Chuck Fletcher, and we've been stuck with him ever since. So yeah. I mean, Farabee is garbage. Farabee is hot garbage, and Forrester, he's not hot garbage, but he's salvageable. He's a good player. You could get something for Tyson Forrester. If you flipped him right now, you could get something for him. And if you wait to the trade deadline, you could still get something for him. So the bottom line is, though, we got to stop falling in love with these players and stop falling in love with their name and fall back in love with the Flyers name. Because right now, some hard decisions are going to have to be made. Fedotov, yeah, you know what? The guy faced 39 shots tonight. Against the, what was the other night against Avalanche? He faced like 39. I mean, against the Senators, he faced like 39. I mean, every time he's in there, he faces a lot of shots. Is he your number one going forward? No, he's not your number one. Is he a competent backup at this level? Yeah, I would say so. And the Flyers are rich when it comes to the goalie position with prospects. I mentioned this a few nights back too. Sam Ersson could be flipped. If Sam Ersson continues to prove that he is worthy of being a number one goalie at the NHL level, you could get something for him at the trade deadline or even sooner. And if someone loses a goalie down the line, he should be traded, because we have a wealth of prospect goalies in our system. And who gives a crap at this point right now about the goalie situation? The goalie situation is a little bit further down the line, right? We got to get this team in order first. So I would definitely be listening to the trade offers for Sam Ersson. But Fedotov, he's a competent backup. I'll give him that right now, and that's all I want from him. He's a competent backup, and he can get in there and he can give you maybe 20, 25 starts a season. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Same thing with Kovasov. I like him too. And I like tonight's player spotlight, Pat, our prospect spotlight of the night, is going to be on another Flyers goalie, who I think is better than them all at this current time. So stay tuned for that. That's what I want to hear. Let's go, Daniel Barrera. Your clock is... Yeah, I mean, at what point do we stop? At what point do we not place the blame at him right now? Right? I think John Tortorella's doing everything he can. He's got no help. It's time for Danny B to make those hard decisions. Honeymoon's over, Danny. Honeymoon's over, Keith Jones. Now it's time to start building a team. And now it's time to start making those hard decisions. Now we see what they do. No one gets my ire up more than that loser Risto. You know what? He's actually played pretty well. Not for the money they're paying him, but he's played pretty well. He's making $6 million a year. He's not playing that way, Steve. I'll give him that, but he's been playing okay. Risto, Sanheim, Lawton, and if we could just get them all on a bus and send them away, and you know what? I'd eat contract and I'd take minimal draft picks in return. All right, you're right. I just want to get away from them. I just want to get away from them. What happened to Lauro? Is he lost? No, Mike is on a hiatus. Mike stepped away. So Steve, we kind of reconfigured everything. It's a Wrap is here. Some people came, some people didn't. Mike stepped away for I don't know what reasons he gave. He just kind of stepped away. I think he's going to come back at some point, somewhere, and he's more than welcome here. But right now he's stepped away. So, but yeah. So the Flyers tonight, losers 4-1. Now 8-10-2 on the season. And tomorrow or Saturday they will face the Connor Bedard and his mom. Well, no, it's too soon for that. But Connor Bedard and, by the way, never mind. See, why do I get lost in these trains of thoughts? Get back to professionalism. Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks will be in town on Saturday. I will have the call. It's a 1 o'clock game, a 4 o'clock-ish ending of the game. I have 2 hockey games myself on Saturday at 12 and 3, and then I got to go somewhere right after that. So I probably won't be here for the post game till about 7, 8 o'clock on Saturday night, but it'll be here, and I'll be able to give you one. But Saturday filled up pretty fast over the last couple of days. I apologize, but duty calls. But I will be back on Saturday for the post game. Tomorrow we'll be back for the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. Tomorrow night, my show, this show, and then Friday night, I'm looking forward to this one. Looking forward to the 2024. I don't have it. Why don't I have? Oh, there it is. The Fightins Final will return on Friday night to give you your 2024 Philly season review show, and we'll try to post a bow around the Philly season and what was the 2024 Phillies. And a perfect segue, I guess. As I mentioned, MLB has been giving out their postseason awards. We're down to the big 2. Today was Cy Young. Tomorrow is the MVPs. And the Phillies currently only have 2 players who have taken home any hardware this offseason. And I don't think anybody is a finalist for I don't think Harper is a finalist for the MVP. And I don't see anybody in the hustle department either. So as it stands right now, today was like our last shot. Zach Wheeler had a shot at the Cy Young. He did not get it. Chris Sale from the Braves is your NL Cy Young Award winner. Pretty impressive too. Because he also won, I believe, Comeback Player of the Year. So he was your MVP, your Cy Young Award. Tomorrow, I would be really amiss if it wasn't Ohtani in the National and it wasn't Judge or Soto in the American, but for the MVPs. But so far, so good for the Phillies. Not so far, so no good for the Phillies. So only 2 players awarded or recognized by Major League Baseball for their contributions of excellence in 2024. Kyle Schwarber. Why did I say Kyle Schwarber? So I'm thinking about something else. Bryce Harper, a Silver Slugger, and a spot on the second team of the All MLB team, and Zach Wheeler, a spot on the first team of the All MLB team in 2024. But that's it. That is it. That is all the Phillies that were recognized for greatness in 2024. And it poses the question, to me at least, was 2024 that good? I mean, we talked about it like it was. And boy, back in April, May, June, we were definitely trending that way. And I said this is the top of the show. It's a shame we didn't do this at the All-Star break, because serious consideration would have been given to Ranger Suarez for Cy Young. Serious consideration would have been given to Trey Turner for MVP. Serious consideration would have been considered to the entire Phillies starting lineup for the All MLB team. I mean, but that's why baseball is not 81 games; it's 162. And as the season kind of unfolded, we already know what happened. And on Friday night at 7, we will recap all that what happened. But the Phillies, once again, not recognized for anything great in 2024. And just to kind of catch you up, as I mentioned, Chris Sale won the NL Cy Young Award. And out in the American League, it was the Tigers' Tariq Skubal. He won for the American League. So congratulations to your 2024 Cy Young Award winners. Not named Zach Wheeler in the National League. So, Frost, Farbs, or what? Frost, Farbs, or Frost? What do you keep? Who do you keep if you keep one? Frost? No, I don't keep any. Steve, I keep none. None. I keep Frost for if I got to keep one. Obviously, I'm going to keep Frost because he's cheaper. We're paying Farabee $5 million a year, and I just can't see that. So I'm going to keep Frost based on the fact that he's cheaper. When does Wheeler fall off, and when does Painter take some of those innings? We're going to get into the Phillies right now, Steve. I'm glad you're bringing it up. But as I mentioned, tomorrow your MVPs will be announced, and then on Friday your Heart and Hustle Award winner will be announced, and we'll be here to talk about all that except for the Heart and Hustle Award. I have no idea what the hell that is, but I think it's a new one. New, I mean like in the last couple of years, not new this year, but I've never heard of the Heart and Hustle Award. It sounds like something that Pete Rose would win, right? God rest his soul. So the Phillies, we talked about it last time. We talked about the Hall of Fame selections, by the way. I don't know if you guys remember this. I'll refresh everyone's memory. We talked about this last night, too. This is baseball, the 2025 returning list of Hall of Fame potential inductees. Of course, 4 Phillies are on this list. Bobby Abreu, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, and Billy Wagner. I don't really claim Billy Wagner, though. He was here for a cup of coffee, but he did wear pinstripes. So these are the returning class of 2025 potential inductees. And then your new group, you're new to the ballot this year, are Carlos Gonzalez, Curtis Granderson, Felix Hernandez, Adam Jones, Ian Kinsler, Russell Martin, Brian McCann, Dustin Pedroia, Henley Ramirez, Fernando Rooney, CC Sabathia, Ichiro, Troy Tulowitzki, and Ben Zobrist. Out of this group, if Ichiro is not a slam dunk first-time inductee, then the system is completely rigged. He better be. He deserves it. And then other than that, I can't tell you of a slam dunk. And then out of this group, of course, I'm a little biased here. I would love, boy, would it be a fantastic day in Philadelphia if we could get Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley both in the class of 2025. God damn. Not only could we have them both go into the Hall of Fame this year, then the Phillies can follow that up with a joint number retirement ceremony at some point this summer at Citizen Bank Park, because they had that silly unwritten rule that they won't retire a player's jersey unless that player has been inducted into the Hall of Fame. But, or of course, unless you're Mike Schmidt. And then your jersey is retired immediately because they know you're getting into the Hall of Fame. But yeah, so there you go. There's your 2025 Baseball Hall of Fame nominees. The Baseball Writers of America have until New Year's Eve to submit their ballots. And then the results will be read live on the air on the MLB Network like June 15th or January 15th. And the ceremony is on July 27th up in Cooperstown, New York. So good luck to you all, and especially good luck to Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins. And we also talked about why Ryan Howard doesn't show up on that list anymore. Ryan Howard was part of the class of 2022. He showed up on the ballot that came out at the end of 21. Did not receive enough votes. Only got 8 votes. Did not receive the minimum of 5% of votes to stay on the ballot automatically. So he came off the ballot. And the only way Ryan Howard can get in, I mean, he still can get in, but he's got to be written in. And that's going to take probably about 40 years to happen. So that is why you're not seeing Ryan Howard's name on the Hall of Fame ballot anymore. It was there, but then he didn't receive enough of the votes, so he cannot stay on. Of course, Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley, I believe this is Utley's 2nd year of eligibility, and Rollins' 4th year. You have 10 years of automatic eligibility to get in, or you come off and you have to be written in. So good luck to those two as they hopefully make their dreams come true. But back to the present day of baseball. There's some more. What am I looking at here? Oh, there's some more. Make us look foolish. That was the beginning at the end for us. Yes, he did. I agree. God, he was good. And I didn't know some until that game. Honestly, Steve. But back to the present day, and we talked about it last night. Alec Boehm's name is popping up now. And I guess a lot of baseball insiders have taken the stance with Alec Boehm that it's not a matter of if Alec Boehm gets traded. It's really to the point now, it's a matter of when Alec Boehm will get traded. So Kansas City has been the latest team that allegedly is kicking the tires on Alec Boehm. I think that would be a great fit for him. Gets him closer to home, gets him off of a superstar-laden roster, gets him out of this market, out of this high-intense media thing. Gives him an opportunity to kind of reset with a very good, talented young team around him. And I think potentially would bring out the best of Alec Boehm. So if the Phillies have an opportunity to move him to Kansas City and the price is right, I definitely think the Phillies should take it. But there's a couple more names, or one more name that popped up today. JT Realmuto has been rumored to potentially be on his way out the door, which I think makes perfect sense, with one exception. Everybody is so fixated on the core of this team, and we talk about these guys like they are here forever, but they're not. Two of them will be free agents a year from now. One calendar year from now, two of them will be free agents. Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto's contracts both expire at the end of the 25 baseball season, which of course is 84 days away from the start of spring training. But does it not make sense to kick the tires on potentially moving JT and Kyle Schwarber both at this point of the season? They're both at the end of their contracts. Does anybody see the Phillies re-signing either of them to any kind of long-term contracts? I don't necessarily see that. JT's missed, I think he missed the most games he's ever missed in a season last year. And that's, with the injury problems. And he's only getting older. And we don't have, now we'll get into why I don't think they should trade him in a second, but offensively he's declined. He's not the BCIB anymore. Matter of fact, he hasn't been that in like 3 years. But moving off of JT this year, getting something in return for him, does it not make perfect sense to anybody else? Because I think it does. And it might save us some money too. Same thing with Kyle Schwarber. Does potentially moving him along to unclog the lineup and to potentially get players batting in their natural positions in that batting order, does that make better sense for the Phillies? Again, does anybody out there see signing Kyle Schwarber long-term? Because I can't see that. So JT Realmuto, his name is popping up. Now, the one thing about not trading JT is the whole situation with catcher. We are not catcher laden right now. We have Rafael Marchand, and that's it, right? We got a bunch of other guys languishing down in the minor leagues, some potential there. Eduardo Tate is, of course, the big name that will probably be the heir apparent in about 3 years, but it ain't happening in 25. Jordan Disson, who plays in, I think, Lakewood, Jersey Shore. And there's another kid. There was the former Yankee top catching prospect that was cut by the Yankees last year and picked up by the Phillies. He had a nice little end to his minor league season, I believe, with Reading. So there's some talent there, but none of it's major league ready. And what are you doing to that position if you do move off of JT? And what are you doing with your potential dip in that position if you move off of JT? Now, with the offensive decline, I'm not necessarily worried about losing offensive production from him. I'm concerned about his defense because JT does catch a really good game, and he still does that really well. And he controls that pitching staff, and he commands that pitching staff. And in a season like this year, where we have a lot of question marks at our starting rotation, I think having a catcher that can get the most out of these guys is definitely going to help us out, at least in the early part of the season, until we kind of figure out what this rotation is going to be. So, and Logan O'Hoppy's not here anymore. Of course, you all know that. It's not. And, Brandon Marsh for Logan O'Hoppy. I mean, does anybody want to redo that trade? So I don't know. I mean, moving off of JT makes financial sense, and it makes sense for potentially moving forward, but it leaves a gaping hole at catcher for the Phillies. Vice versa for Kyle Schwarber. I think moving off of Schwarber is perfect sense. We got nothing but DHs on this team. We can easily fill him in, and we can get rid of him once and for all leading off. There's no danger of him leading off anymore if he's not with the team. So I think, seriously, Alec Bohm, JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Brandon Marsh, I mean, hell, every one of them, to be honest with you, should be on the table for a potential upgrade. And on Friday night at 7 p.m., the Fightins Final will be back to talk about that season in depth. So hopefully you're there with us to start off your weekend with some Phillies baseball in review. So yeah, good stuff there. So the Phillies are in the mix. 84 days, spring training starts, and And then on Sunday, of course, the Phillies or the Eagles will be heading out west to play the Rams, in which should be a very interesting game. We talked about it last night a lot about how I don't feel this team is elite, nor do I feel that their quarterback is elite, and nor do I feel like this team is a Super Bowl contender. I don't think they are. I'm going to tell you right now, they won't make it to the Super Bowl. I'm going to also tell you they will not win the NFC East. So you heard it here. So they're going to play the Rams, and tomorrow night, me and Kyle Quinn will be back to cut up and get you ready for that game, as well as get you ready for. We'll relook some of the games from last week. We'll relook the Dallas game. They played Dallas. Oh, Commanders. Goddamn, I'm a week off. We'll review the Commanders, and we'll look ahead at the Rams tomorrow on the Birds Blast. So we're looking forward to that. And that's all we're going to get into when it comes to football tonight. But tomorrow at 6, be here, be square. Is that what it? Be there, be square. Is that it? Be there, be square. That's we'll cut that up. So let's get into our flyer prospect of the night. This is our. I don't want to. I got to stop calling it the flyer prospect of the night. Let's just call it the prospect of the night segment here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. This is the time of the show where we'll take a prospect in the Flyers or Phillies system, or a potential draft target for the Flyers or Phillies, and we'll just kind of kick it around a little bit. And tonight we're going to jump on the theme. We started it earlier in the week with talking about Carson Bjornsson, the goalie, one of the project goalies or prospect goalies that plays for the Brandon Wheat Kings of the Western Hockey League. Well, tonight I am going to unveil to who I think is the actual best of the Flyer prospects that are currently out there right now, and that's Igor Zaradin. He was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2023 draft, the round after they took Bjornsson. He's currently playing for SKA Petersburg at the KHL. They had actually loaned him down to Sochi, but then they loaned him back to St. Petersburg this week, I believe. Zaradin is a quick and athletic goaltender with a strong glove hand and a good rebound control, which is something we desperately need here. Moves well both vertically and side to side, tremendous upside, and is a future number 1 in the position in the NHL. I don't know if you guys have had opportunities like I have had, waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, getting on the deep dark web and watching KHL hockey. What I do, because I have no life. But this guy really is a game changer, I think. And as I said, I think he projects to be better than any of the other goalies that we have in the system. Currently now, through 19 games of the KHL season, both with SKA Petersburg and Sochi, he's posted it's about a 2.21 goals against average. He is 9-7 with 3 shutouts and a save percentage 9.24. Sorry. So there you have it. Igor Zaradin, who I believe is the best of all of our Flyer prospects. And I think that when we look at what this, and with that being said, of course, he is on the table too. I mean, if the Flyers have an opportunity to move off of a prospect for some help, I would be definitely ready to take it. But Igor Zaradin definitely, in my opinion, is one of the best, if not the best, Flyer prospect we have in the system. And there you go. That was your prospect of the night segment here on the Final Word with MattyB. And that's going to take us to the final part of the show, our final segment, which is MattyB's card review segment. And let's play the music.
Looks a little something like that. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. What? Looks a little something like that. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
All right, the MattyB card review segment of the show, daily segment that we do when we take one of my sports cards from my vast collection of over, it's not 500,000. I was grossly off at that count. It's probably around 100,000, maybe even less than that. It's a lot. It definitely seems like a lot, but it's a good collection. It's a good starter collection for somebody who's just recently got back into sports card collecting. And anyway, take one of my cards, And we just kicking around. We talk about the player, we talk about the card, talk about the year, talk about the type of card, talk about financial value, we talk about nostalgic value, we talk about intrinsic value, and sentimental value as well. I really have a good fun time doing this segment. And we go through all 4 major sports. We don't discriminate against any of them. And last night we were on the hardwood. No, we weren't. We were back in baseball last night, right? No, we're on the hardwood with Akeem Olajuwon. Tonight we're heading on the ice for our card of the night. It is the 1990 Topps Mike Modano rookie card. That's right. U.S.-born hockey player, one of the top 5 best ever to play for the United States hockey program. One of a household name in the NHL throughout the 1990s and early 2000s. Hall of Fame inductee, multiple Stanley Cup champion, and this is with him. This is a card of him with the North Stars in '90. His Topps rookie card. A really good player who really dominated in an era of transitioning hockey when it went from one style to the next. Could play both sides of that game, could play straight up a 200-foot game, but could also mix it up in the corners with anybody. Really a super player in a great era of hockey. Spent, I believe, his entire career with the Stars organization, first in Minnesota and then in Dallas. But there you have, there's your card of the night. And this is his rookie card. Now, in the world of hockey cards, it's kind of a hit or miss because these days, in like this year, last 5 or 6 years, hockey cards have dramatically gone up in value. And that's pretty much because of the design of the card. They're taking a lot of time in designing really slick looking cards. This is as basic as it gets, folks. This is a 90 Topps. All right. There's no frills to this card, but this is a Hall of Fame player. Now, I found variant prices of this card. The best I could see it on a non-auction website where you could buy it straight up was $5 as a PSA 9. But I did also find it in an auctioning type website. Right now, I believe it's currently being auctioned at $125. But here's the catch-22, and that was for PSA 9 as well. Here's the catch-22 with this card. There's 2 versions of the same card floating around. There's the Topps version that you're looking at right now, because you can see the word Topps up there in the corner of the card. And there's the O-Pee-Chee version. Now, it's the same picture, the same card design, the same everything except for the name. But the O-Pee-Chee card is dramatically more expensive. O-Pee-Chee was kind of the hockey card guardians back in the day. Topps, Upper Deck have kind of taken it over now, but O-Pee-Chee's still there, but they're more comparable now to the other companies. But back in the day, it was O-Pee-Chee in hockey. And this same exact card in O-Pee-Chee is dramatically more expensive than the Topps version. But this is a quality card in terms of the player. I have actually 4 of these cards in my collection, and I think all of them are PSA 9s or above. And let's take this down and then show you that physical card right here. That's the same as that card. As you can see, the Topps up there in the corner. Let me put it up there. There's Mike Modano right there. That's his rookie card. One of the best USA hockey players ever to play the game. Hall of Fame inductee and a multiple Stanley Cup winner. But as I said, financially, you would think it'd be more. It's not. But if you have the O-Pee-Chee version, it is more. But I like it. It's a basic card, but it brings back a lot of memories of those times. And this is also a card of him as a Minnesota North Star, which, of course, that team does not exist anymore. You got a Hall of Fame player, rookie card in a Minnesota North Star uniform with a Minnesota North Star card. So I think it's a cool card. It's one of my favorites in my collection. And that was your card of the night. The 1990-91 Topps Mike Modano rookie, valued right now at about $5 for a Hall of Fame player and one of the top 5 greatest hockey players ever to play for the U.S. hockey program. So there is no justice in the world, I'm telling you. That is going to take us to the end of the show, folks. Interesting, we kind of continue the conversation about the Flyers' pathetic 4-1 loss tonight to the hands of the Carolina Hurricanes. We brought back up the conversation that it might be time to stop falling in love. Well, it is time. It's not might, but it is time. It is time to stop falling in love with the names in the back and start falling in love with the name on the front. And Danny B is going to have to start making some hardcore decisions very soon. It's evident that there's certain players that are just not going to work here, and there's certain players that are. But when you're a team that's laden with a bunch of role players, it's time. It's time to start moving off of some of those. None of those guys are ever going to work all out together anyway. They're all the same type of player. We need a little bit more diversity on the Philadelphia Flyers, and offensive diversity would be even better. But I think that conversation's about to happen sooner than later, because now it's in Danny B's hands. John Tortorella is not the problem here, folks. So stop saying that he is. He's not. He's doing an amazing job with his team. He just doesn't have enough to work with. So Danny B needs to help him out. We talked some MLB awards as we're wrapping that up. The Cy Young Award came out today. Tomorrow is your MVPs, and Friday your Hustle Award, and that'll be it. 84 days to the start of 2025 spring training, and potential trade rumors. Alec Boehm is out there floating around. JT Realmuto's name was added to the mix today. And is it time to also think about maybe moving on from Kyle Schwarber, who is in the same boat as Realmuto, an expiring contract in 2025? And we did our prospect of the night. It was Igor Zarajin of the Flyers, a prospect goalie playing currently in the KHL. And our card of the night was the Mike Modano rookie from 1990-91 Topps. And that's it, man. I am done. We will be back tomorrow at 6 for the Birds Blast. And then sometime tomorrow night around 9 o'clock or so for this show, The Final Word with MattyB. Until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night and an even better tomorrow.
I've been coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. I drop the top when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Yeah, I'm so. Everybody know I'm on. You know when the click through. Try to send this supposed to be a so big vibe.